This is Brendan Appel with Sons of Speed, and for this job you're going to need a 21mm socket and wrench, a 200 foot-pound or higher torque wrench, another torque wrench capable of 108 inch-pounds, a T30 screw bit, and a breaker extension for your socket wrench. Something like a pipe extension or even the handle of your floor jack will work to loosen the really tough caliper bolts.
Today we're going to remove the caliper and change the brake rotor on a Z51 Corvette 2015. First thing we're going to do, we need to loosen and remove this bolt up here, this caliper bolt, and this one down here. So this is not a complicated process, but it's not easy either. These bolts are on there really tight, and to remove them is a little bit on the difficult side. And even when it gets going, it's not going to really fly off because of the adhesive that's on there. And by the way, if you don't have something to add some additional torque, the handle section of your floor jack makes a handy extension for your wrenches. That's your brake caliper bolt. If you take off the OEM ones, they're going to be a little green through here, and that's just the thread locker that GM uses. As you can see, the caliper already wants to come off, and you don't want that to drop. So keep one hand on the caliper. Now if you're doing this on the ground, you're going to need somewhere to set the caliper down on a box or something where you're protecting the brake lines and you're not going to damage the caliper, and it's not going to be hanging. Don't leave it hanging by the brake lines. So if you're on a 4-post like this, you can simply just set it down here. You should have plenty of clearance. You don't want the brake line to be stressed at all. Right now it's fine. It can sit right there. And now we can take off the rotor. Okay, for this you're going to need a T30 screw bit. It's going to go right here into the rotor. Be very careful with this. I've already stripped these a few times. And the hard part is going to be that, as you can see, the rotor is going to want to move, and they're usually torqued in there pretty tight, and if they've been on a while they might be stuck. So what I'm going to try and do is give it a lot of pressure here. There we go. So an impact wrench or driver is going to help quite a bit there. We're just going to back that the rest of the way out. And, you know, check and make sure the screw is okay. I would order a set of these, they're not that much, from GM, and get a few extras. I do have a couple extras, although this one looks pretty good. Alright, let's take the rotor off. And you can see why I'm replacing this particular rotor. If you can see right there, cracks started developing right here. This is a race brake rotor. that really couldn't stand up to the heat on the racetrack, and so we have just some pretty big cracks, and we're going to be putting DBA rotors in and see if that can handle the heat a little better. While you've got the rotor off is a great time to clean the rust that you see around here with a steel wool type attachment to a drill. So you just you know, run this and if low speed doesn't do it, move it up to high. And just make sure you clear off most of that surface rust. Alright, so you want to take your new rotor, in this case a disc brakes Australian model, and you're just going to fit it whatever the holes, but the one thing you have to do is make sure that you line up the rotor screw right there with the rotor screw hole. You're going to have a tough time trying to get that to go in. Okay, so when you put the rotor screw back on, you're going to want to torque that to 106 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. So I'm going to use this just to get it most of the way there. Okay, I'm going to fit the T30 bit in there. Give that a turn. Looks like I still have quite a bit of room left in here. There we go. 106 inch-pounds. And it should be nice and sturdy on there. Which is great. Okay, next is to put the caliper back on. You can reuse your old bolts. You have to use denatured alcohol, clean these, and I used like a wire scrub the first time to try and get the stuff that's stuck in the grooves there out, and then you would apply thread locker, wait 10 minutes, and then you'd reapply the caliper bolts. What I decided to do after the cleaning process, which is not fun and doesn't seem to quite get it clean enough, is I just bought new caliper bolts. So the part number is GM116 11085. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, they're like $4 a bolt. They come already with the adhesive on there, which is this aqua green stuff you see in there. And we're going to just use brand new caliper bolts, and then we'll take the old ones and we'll let them sit in some denatured alcohol, and they'll be ready to go for the next time, nice and clean. And hopefully there won't be too many next times, but if we have to do it again, at least we'll have bolts ready to go. So what you want to do is just put the caliper back on, and hopefully your brake pads will fit perfectly over it, as these did. And then just thread the top one in there. And it'll help if you have it both sides up on jack stands, just to turn this. So you can see a little bit better and get a little bit of a better angle in here. Okay, again, you're going to use that 21mm socket. And I'm going to tighten that caliper bolt up. Now you're going to need to torque this to 162 foot-pounds, 162, and that's what we have, the big torque wrench. We're going to break out in a second, but we're going to get it nice and snug with the smaller wrench first. Okay, now that we've got those very snug, I'm going to take our torque wrench, our very big torque wrench. I'm going to torque this to 162 foot-pounds. It helps keep the torque wrenches going in the right direction. And since this is brand new, it came from the factory. I'm trying to back up. $162. And there we go. So, we didn't have to take the brake line off, we didn't have to do anything else, and we have a brand new rotor. The rears are a different animal altogether with the parking brake, and if I ever need to change them, I'll do a video on that. But as far as the fronts go, that's all you need to do. Again, just remember, if you're going to reuse your old calipers, clean them with denatured, or caliper bolts, clean them with denatured alcohol, get all the grooves clean, apply some thread locker 2/3 the way up, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then go ahead and reinstall them. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please click like below, and don't forget to check out some of our other videos on sports cars, track days, and of course, auto maintenance.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, check us out on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.